Alrighty, chapter 2, we're going to be looking at the mixers tool set. What tools do we actually have at our disposal? We're going to be getting into it, man. So, the first thing we have is our DAW, okay? We have our DAW, our digital audio workstation. Do not ever buy into the hype of, oh, one is better than the other. Oh, one has worse quality than the other. At this point in the game, 2021 and beyond, all right, it's been this way since about 2012, I would say. We've reached the pinnacle of what DAWs can do within the computer. And what I mean by that is we've cleaned up all of the errors, all of the, degradation and all the things that can happen from processing digital audio. All of those things have kind of been smoothed out. The only place left where our audio can be degraded within the DAW itself is generally with plugins, right? Because you're going to have a lot of third-party developers all coming together with their own kind of, coding and skills, and that might degrade the quality. But overall, any DAW works. It's not overcomplicated. Whatever you have access to, make use of, okay? The whole Pro Tools is better than Logic, is better than FL Studio. FL Studio is a children's DAW. All of those things, they're all just perspective based. They're all just opinion based, right? They're not the ones who are going to be mixing your project. So don't mind any of that, okay? The DAW is just a place where we can, again, I said this in the vocal recording course, it's just a routing matrix in my opinion. It's just a place where I can add effects. It's just another place where I can add output gear. I don't care. I'll use Nuendo. I'll use whatever. I'll use Reaper. Just not Audacity, okay? Always ripping on Audacity. But, that is the main tool we have, our audio workstation. Now, the audio workstation will generally be comprised of two main sections, right? We have the mixing tab or mixer area, whatever you want to call it. Pro Tools will allow you to create tracks from scratch. Something like FL Studio will have, I think it is about 199 tracks by default, and that's all you have to work with. I don't generally go over 30 tracks, so you'll never reach a limit. But this is where we'll do all of our mixing, our leveling, and whatnot, right? On the other end of the spectrum, we have our arrange area, okay? This is the playlist area, and basically this is the place where we can arrange our track, basically, where we can add automation clips. We'll run to that just now, where we can add our beat, add our vocals, etc., etc. It's really just a place where we lay our track out, okay? So that's really it. It's as simple as that. All right, now we can look into our software and VSTs. I know that's why you're here. You want to learn more about software and VSTs. We're going to have a quick overview of what VSTs are and, how you can make use of them. And then we'll look in depth into every different type of VST we have available to us as mixers. But, VSTs, man, simple and sweet, right? For every DAW that you use, you will have a set of stock ones that come stock with the DAW, right? They're going to get you set up with flanges, EQs, delays, choruses, whatever it may be, right? Monitoring tools. It's always going to be there. And I don't ever want you to feel bad for using stock plugins, okay? I use them all the time. I personally don't care what I'm using. I just have a custom taste, right? A quiet taste, should I say, for, plugins that I like to use. But I'm not scared to use a stock plugin. There's nothing wrong with them, okay? They're beautiful. Now, once you begin to mix more and, kind of seek out different mixing philosophies, you are then going to start going, oh, well, maybe I do want, for example, the L1 limiter because it has a unique way that it kind of squashes things, right? That's when you can start to kind of look outside of the stock domain and begin to invest in yourself, okay? I would recommend everyone not to go overboard on investing in VST plugins. The basics you can purchase if you are a beginner, for example, an auto-tune, right? If you want to start mixing your friends, you're going to want, some sort of fancy pants auto-tune, right? Auto-tune has become more affordable. Waves Tune has become more affordable, but I don't want you to go overboard. The stock auto-tune, for example, is good, but again, you can invest in a paid auto-tune if you like. Even just the Waves bundle, if you are really interested in spending, if you feel that's going to help improve your workflow, the Waves Gold bundle is probably where I would be at. I've got the Waves bundle, the Gold bundle, and I really have not added anything more to this other than, a few things that were on sale, the CLA vocals, the Mix Hub, the DBX. These are things I got on sale. You don't have to spend massive amounts to increase your overall quality, right? It's diminishing returns, okay? So VST plugins, simple and sweet. These are basically, if I give a definition, just tools that we can use to further enhance and control our mix that we have. It's just another tool that we have in our tool set. Okay, so tool set number 3, our listening devices, man. So when it comes to listening, I'm going to pull up on the big camera. We only have a few different types of ways to listen, right? We obviously need our audio interface and our outputs and whatnot, but our speakers, right? Our listening devices. Really all we have is headphones, okay, and then we have speakers. Okay, so you can see I have two sets of speakers. I've kind of refined down, you know, how I like to listen, and as time goes on, you will also figure out what you like. Okay, but I would recommend everyone not to invest overly in speakers up until the point where you've learned a bit more about acoustics, okay, because it again is diminishing returns. I would recommend something like the Yamaha HS5 if you are interested in listening speakers, because they are smaller and they're not going to interfere with the room too much. Okay, so don't go overboard on speakers up until the point where you've kind of, you know, worked on your room, made it a bit more dead, right? But if we talk about speakers, man, I've got two sets here. I've got the Focal Twin 6s, I think they're called. Oh, there's the name anyway. Nah, whatever. The 6Bs, I think. And these are really nice high fidelity speakers. The reason I like them is because they have high quality tweeters, and they are a three-way speaker essentially. So they divide the sound up into three. And what that means is we have the bass section right there. So you can see on the, let me actually just go there so you guys can see on the left side, or actually on the right side, we have the lower bass. On the outer speaker woofer, we have the mid-range up to the mid-highs, and then that little circular thing on top is the tweeter, and that's what's going to give us the treble, right? So high quality speakers are going to help you perceive the mix that you're working on, right? You can't really be in the dark when it comes to this, right? Second pair of speakers we have is the Yamaha NS10. Now this is something that mixers have made use of. This particular pair of speakers have made use of since the 70s. It became kind of like a tradition to have a pair in your studio. Do you need them? No. There are many mixers that absolutely hate them just because of how cheap they sound. I won't even lie, I barely use the NS10s these days. If I do mix on a project, I will pull them up for about less than 5% of the mix, just to kind of test where that mid-range is. Now, these speakers really help me kind of hear what our mix would sound like on a smaller sound system. What will it sound like on a cell phone, right? Even this iPhone speaker sounds really good these days, man. I mean, it's got stereo, I can listen, and I can really hear what my focals were showing me beforehand, right? That's why an accurate pair of speakers is helpful. But the NS10s, again, are just a second opinion. Think of all of these listening devices as opinions, right? Oh, maybe that mid-range is popping out a little bit too much. Tuck it down. Let's listen again on the other speakers. Oh, okay, that does sound like an improvement, right? But again, I wanted to speak on these last because headphones are really underrated in a way, right? You get so much out of headphones, you know, in terms of cost saving, right? If you can find a decent pair of headphones, Bayer, I think they're called, what are they called? They're the German speakers, you know the ones I'm talking about, right? They can sound good, right? And they can get the job done. I mean, Alex Tomei has been using Audio Technica. He put me onto the